it's Christine, and it is the month of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. This is the best of month, and one of her little, I don't know what you want to call it, activities, is she allowed us to submit Instagram handles so that she could feature us on a given day, and she chose me for day 16. So you'll see this on the 16th of June, along with my Instagram post. So make sure you check that out. And in the Instagram post, there's a couple of other ladies that are also getting featured today, and I'll tag them as well as Christy. So you'll see all of that, plus the original artist of the sketch. So the sketch is this one. It's by Susanna Lee. So she will have, I'll have her link as well. It's a simple sketch. It's not terribly complicated. It's got just a simple background with these cool little, like, I don't know what you call that, diagonally, you know, cut strips with a couple of pictures, title, and a couple little tiny embellishments. Now, what I decided to do is use one of my scrap room flavors of the month. Now, I'm actually recording this in April, y'all. So I'm way ahead, and I'm really proud of myself. And in my scrap room, was it this month? I feel like it was this month, April. Let me make sure. Yes, April. We got this Simple Stories kit, Simple Vintage Indigo Garden. I just love it. I feel like I might have had something. No, I just had Simple Vintage Garden before, I think. I don't think it was Indigo Garden. Anyway, I love this collection. These papers are just stunning. I just love all the little florals. It is so pretty. And what I've got is these two sheets. There's a little more. There's another sheet that came with, but I'm saving it. I'm hoarding it. And I'm going to use this pattern, and this pattern, as well as this basil smooth cardstock. I have these two pictures. It's me and my daughter. If I'm honest, I really wanted to use this frame, and I'm really sad. But my two pictures, they're not the right size. They're just not the right size, and I'm so sad. But I will save this for the other paper. But I do have, I did bring in this piece of cardstock here too, because I want to, I'm guessing I'm going to end up matting these photos with it. So this is out of my stash. I think this might be a Stampin' Up color. Probably, I don't even know what color. Something olive maybe. I've opened up the ephemera little baggie here, and I got this cool foam tape. Foam stickers. I think I'm going to use Favorite, because I think that's going to be pretty. And then there's a few other little pieces here. I will say I don't know that I'll use much of these because there's not a lot of embellishment on the sketch anyway. And none of this really, this might kind of go, or this might, or even this might. This does not look right. Obviously, those might look right. Maybe these. I'm not really sure. Not sure. These ones probably won't, but maybe these. So, I am going to stop the camera. I need to trim my pictures because they need to be a little smaller square. And I'm going to cut my little diagonal things. I'll do that on camera, though, because I don't know how to do it. And I'm going to let you guys see me try. I feel like sometimes that's the helpful part, right? Is see how somebody gets something done so you can see the process. So anyways, give me just a second. I'm going to trim these guys up the top here, and then I'll figure out my angles, and I'll show you guys how to do it. All right, talk soon.
Okay, so what I did first was cut 3-inch strips from my paper. And again, I don't know how to do, like I did not know how to do this or anything. I didn't watch anybody else do it or anything like that. So this was just my ideas. So I cut 3 inches. And then what I did is on one side, I marked 1 inch from each opposite side. And the first time on this piece of paper, I went ahead and drew like a little pencil line. What I end up doing in a minute, I don't actually use the pencil lines because that's silliness after I start sticking it in my cutter. Now you're looking at me here because I'm thinking about it. I've drawn those pencils. I'm like, okay, is that going to really do what I want? And it does. It actually does. It works out the way I want. I will say that in looking at the sketch, I could have cut a slightly wider piece and then come in, maybe more than 1 inch. In other words, to create a bit of a steeper angle, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I'm not unhappy with how this turned out because I did have the little bit of an angle, and it does, go along with the sketch. But I think just, again, from kind of a learnings perspective, I think I would probably have cut a little bit wider, maybe a 4-inch wide strip, and then maybe come in 1.5 to 2 inches, just to give myself a little sharper angle. But again, at the end, this did do what I wanted it to do, and it did give me that angle. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking here, and I'll cut out this little bit because honestly, I don't think you need to see me do every piece of paper because I do essentially the same process. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I've got my 3 strips now cut at a little bit of an angle, and I do decide to go ahead and scuff the edges. And honestly, I only did it just because I felt like it was going to be a little bit boring otherwise. I needed to add some kind of interest here, and I really didn't, want to ink or whatever. I just didn't feel like dragging out the inks. Probably being a bit lazy. But anyway, I scuffed the edges of these. I do not scuff the top and bottom. At this point, I hadn't actually decided. If I'm honest, the sketch even appears to have this main base layout maybe matted on a darker sheet, and I don't actually end up doing that. I thought about it, but then I decided against it. No real reason other than I just go, not gonna. So I do scuff the edges of these little guys. So my pictures, I don't know that I've told you guys. I don't think I've said, but the pictures are just me and my daughter. It was Thanksgiving 2021. We had gone to lunch at Fogo de Chao, and we were just taking a few little selfies. In hindsight on those pictures, I kind of wished I had my hair down because I look a little bit like a colonial man, I think, but it's okay because my hair is pulled back in this weird ponytail. But she looks cute, and that's really all that matters. That's all I care about. So I decided to use these. I actually kind of went through my papers because I wanted to use a new kit or a new collection, but at the same time I'm such a terrible little hoarder. I'll decide I want something, and because this sketch basically took, just 3 kind of narrow strips, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to cut into some papers, and I was really being precious with some of my papers because I go, oh, I want more of it to show or whatever. Who knows? And actually, I like this color combination anyways. It's kind of got this nice little, I thought it goes with our outfits pretty good. So I have trimmed those pictures down. Maybe I haven't done it all the way yet. No, I guess I hadn't. This is where I do it. I trim them down to 3 by 3 or thereabouts. I actually realized a little bit later when I'm trying to mat them, one side is 3 and the other is just a hair shorter than 3, which kind of messes me up just a little bit when I'm making the photo mats, but it's not that big a deal because I was trying to cut the photo mats with the ruler, and when I cut it, I realized, oh, that's not going to work out. Now, here's where I'm trying to figure out what order do I want my photo mat paper layers in. I have this green cardstock. I want to use the pink. I'm going to introduce the pink because I have that title of favorite, and I'm going to put that where the sketch calls for the title. It was kind of perfect. And she's my favorite. She's my favorite person. So I'm going to use that title, but that means I need to introduce a little pink because there's not really any pink in the patterns. So I need to pull something in there. So I've got the pattern or the back side of this. I think it was the yellow paper, the little yellow flowers. I'm thinking this was the back side of that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's either that. I'm almost certain it's the back side of the yellow flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and create some photo mats using that darker pattern and then this pink, and then I make the green be the last photo mat that's close to the patterns. This is where I'm trying to cut these things using the ruler. Sorry, I'm off camera there. It's just cutting paper, so it's not that big a deal. But I realized, well, shoot, that picture is it's a little wonky sized. It's not exactly a 3-inch square. And how I had to do that, I'm not real sure, other than I think, printed them off on my little selfie, and that thing prints just a bit wonky. I think, it's not exactly a 4x6. It's like a little wonky, and that's kind of where I ended up here. So I'm a little bit sad because I did have to cut that pink up a little more than I initially intended to make the right size photo mats. But it's okay. I'll figure out some other kind of way to use those things. I'm sure I can find a sketch with some squares or something like that I end up using the other two. Because this is where, like I said, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, these have to fit in there, and that's not the right size, or this is the right size. And so that's where I decide, okay, those are the right ones. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, and then I'm going to I think I have to trim off just a tad because, like I said, one size is right. One side was a little bigger than the other, so I have to trim off the little extras to make it the right size. And then I'll put that on the darker floral, and then I'll end up putting that on the green, and I like how that looks. I do actually end up coming in and adding foam on the back side. I started to not do it, but that just seemed contraindicated to my style. I put foam on every layout, dang it, and so I had to have some foam. Now, or I guess I could have technically said my foam title was my foam, but I wanted to put my pictures on foam, so we do that. This was such a quick, if I'm honest, this was actually really quick. Other than me trying to mentally figure out those darn angles, which wasn't that hard, but it took me a little bit of thought, and then just getting my little squares here right. Otherwise, it was a really simple little layout. There's not, you can add stuff to it, of course. That's the point of a sketch, right? Is you take and interpret any kind of way you want to. And I almost added, there's some ephemeras and stuff over there, and I thought about it, like there's a cute tag and this. But honestly, I kind of just like the simplicity of the layout. I thought it was kind of pretty. I do take, so in the sketch it has like a little heart in the upper right, and I do add a little something extra up there. Now here's where I cut over. I had my sister actually showed up for us to go for a run, so I had to stop for a minute. But I've cut over here, and this is where I'm going to add the foam. And just, I don't know why I'm fussing with that, truth be told, because I think I'm just thinking about it. Do I want foam? Do I not want foam? And I decide, yes, I want foam. So I grab my little red foam there. I'm almost through I'm almost halfway through that ginormous stack I bought several months back. And that's another reason I want to use foam on every layout, because darn it, I want to get the stuff with the sticky back, and I can't justify to myself buying it if I haven't used up at least half of the other one. So I'm almost to the point I feel justified, but not quite. All right, so I got my 2 pictures. I got them on my foam. I've got my title. That's pretty easily done there. And I'm looking, and the nice thing too, these little ephemeras, well, that little butterfly was just cute. Now, technically, the sketch had a little heart, and I'll add, well, I don't put a heart there, I don't think. I think I just put, I don't put a heart there. I use that butterfly kind of like a heart, I guess. And it's going to go there. I don't know why. I just thought it was pretty, and it goes with the papers, and I like it. So that's what happens. So I'm going to put my little butterfly. I do put the glue in the middle, so like tape runner in the middle, and then foam tape up behind the wings, so his little wings lift up. Now, the nice thing, as I said in the sketch, there's actually little hearts in these little areas, and I'm going to find these little foam hearts on here, and that's just perfect. Again, it just went just perfectly. It just went with this sketch so well. So I was able to take and put my little hearts. There's a little heart, and then I find this other bigger heart. Oh, I started to put that ephemera one, and I decided on the foam ones again. So I put the big one. It looks kind of like a little puffy piece of fabric or something, and then I find the green one. But honestly, I ended up pulling out another little piece of ephemera over there because I felt like the green one was getting lost. He was almost invisible. I'm looking at that little foam heart thinking, do I add it over the butterfly? I decide against it, and I go, no, no, no. That was my hand going, no, 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 don't do that. But I did look at this little title as well, or that little banner there, and I decided, no, not that either. So I do find this little guy, it looks like a note clip looking thing. My whole purpose, if I'm honest, was to try to make that little green heart stick out a little bit better. Although I do like it. I mean, it's a cute little embellishment, so it's good. I think it says like happy thoughts, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little bit small on my screen here, but I'm almost certain it said happy thoughts. And that's all cute. I think that looks good. I will say at this point, technically, I think I've met all the elements of the sketch, but it still feels a little bit unfinished. So I think about that little thing there too, and I go, nope, not going to do that. I still have another sheet of paper I need to work with, so I don't want to use everything up. This is where I'm looking at these little dots, though, and I do kind of like these little dots. Again, just kind of introducing that pink. I mean, there's, just adding some pink in here. We're girls. I guess that's cool. So I actually put 2 little dots in each of my little areas here just to kind of give a little something, something. But again, I've basically met the elements of the sketch. There's not just much else to do. But I do decide I want to run over and get a few little, I want to get some ink and do a little splatters. And I get this real soft pink here. It's a Lindy Stamp Gang. I try to use my little wand, and that thing just doesn't want to put ink anywhere I want it. So I end up having to yank out my paintbrush. I decided, just use your paintbrush, Christine, and that goes how I want it to. And it's pretty subtle. It's a really light pink, and it just kind of adds little sprinkles everywhere. And that's all I'm going to do this layout. This was kind of, like I said, quick and easy. And I even added a few little things. So this was a great sketch to work with. I really appreciate Christy giving me the opportunity to showcase my work today on Instagram. So please make sure you check that out. Check out all the links. And keep watching for the rest of the layouts this month. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a good one. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.